In the cold, unyielding void of space, the Krylos dominion reigned supreme. A sprawling empire of conquest and subjugation, it was led by Queen Visara, a monarch as ruthless as she was brilliant. Her insectoid form, towering and chitinous, was a symbol of fear across the galaxy. Her armies were vast, her technology unmatched, and her will unbreakable. Under her rule, the Krylos had crushed countless civilizations, absorbing their resources and erasing their histories. To Queen Visara, strength was the only virtue, and weakness was a sin punishable by annihilation. Among the many tales whispered across the stars, one stood out as particularly absurd to her: the legend of human warriors. Humans, a species from a remote planet called Earth, were said to be primitive yet indomitable. Stories spoke of their resilience, their cunning, and their ability to triumph against impossible odds. They were said to fight not just with weapons, but with an unyielding spirit that defied logic. Queen Visara dismissed these tales as fables, the exaggerated boasts of lesser beings trying to inflate their own importance. To her, humans were nothing more than insects, weak, insignificant, and unworthy of her attention. But the galaxy had a way of humbling even the mightiest rulers. The Krylos dominion had set its sights on a resource-rich star system on the fringes of their territory. The system was home to a coalition of species, including a small human colony on a planet known as Terra Nova. Queen Visara saw this as an opportunity to prove once and for all that the humans were nothing special. She would crush them, erase their colony, and add their world to her empire. It would be a quick, decisive victory, or so she thought. Queen Visara personally led the invasion force, her flagship, the Ebon Claw, at the head of a massive armada. As the Krylos fleet descended upon Terra Nova, they were met with resistance, but it was disorganized and seemingly futile. The humans fought bravely, but their weapons were primitive compared to the advanced technology of the Krylos. Queen Visara watched from the bridge of her ship, her mandibles clicking in amusement. "Pathetic," she sneered. "These are the so-called warriors of legend. They are nothing but prey." But as the battle raged on, something unexpected happened. The humans, though outnumbered and outgunned, began to adapt. They used the terrain to their advantage, setting traps and ambushes that caught the Krylos off guard. Their small, agile fighters darted through the chaos, striking at vulnerable points in the Krylos formations. The humans fought with a ferocity and determination that Queen Visara had never seen before. Despite their efforts, the humans were slowly being overwhelmed. Queen Visara ordered her troops to press the attack, determined to crush the last remnants of resistance. But as her forces closed in on the human stronghold, a single figure emerged from the smoke and debris. It was a human, clad in battered armor and wielding a weapon that seemed almost comically primitive compared to the advanced energy blades of the Krylos. Yet, there was something about the way he carried himself, a quiet confidence, an unshakable resolve. He stood alone, facing down an entire battalion of Krylos warriors. Queen Visara's curiosity was piqued. She ordered her troops to hold their fire and approached the human, her guards flanking her on either side. The human stood his ground, his eyes locked onto hers with an intensity that sent a shiver down her spine. "You are either very brave or very foolish," Queen Visara said, her voice dripping with disdain. "Do you truly believe you can stand against me?" The human smiled faintly. "I don't have to believe it. I just have to do it." Queen Visara's eyes narrowed. She had expected fear, submission, but this human showed neither. He was unlike any foe she had ever faced. She decided to test him to see if he was truly as formidable as the legends claimed. She stepped forward, her claws extending as she prepared to strike. The human raised his weapon, a simple blade forged from steel, and assumed a defensive stance. The two warriors circled each other, the tension palpable. Queen Visara struck first, her claws slashing through the air with deadly precision. The human dodged with surprising agility, his movements fluid and precise. He countered with a swift strike, his blade glancing off her exoskeleton. The impact was minimal, but it was enough to make her pause. The battle that followed was unlike anything Queen Visara had ever experienced. The human fought with a skill and determination that defied logic. He anticipated her every move, countered her attacks with precision, and refused to back down no matter how many times she struck him. His resilience was astounding, his will unbreakable. As the fight dragged on, Queen Visara began to feel something she had never felt before: doubt. This human, this seemingly insignificant creature, was pushing her to her limits. She had always believed that strength was measured by physical power and advanced technology, but this human was proving that there was more to it. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the human landed a decisive blow. His blade struck a weak point in her exoskeleton, causing her to stagger back in pain. She looked at him, her eyes wide with shock and disbelief. "How?" she whispered. "How can you be so strong?" The human lowered his weapon, his breathing heavy but his gaze steady. "Strength isn't just about power or technology. It's about heart, about the will to keep fighting no matter the odds. That's what makes us human." Queen Visara was silent, her mind racing. She had spent her entire life seeking strength through conquest and domination, but this human had shown her a different kind of strength, one rooted in resilience, ingenuity, and an unyielding spirit. In that moment, something within her shifted. She realized that the Krylos Dominion's path of endless conquest was unsustainable, that true strength lay not in subjugating others, but in understanding and cooperation. She ordered her troops to stand down and called for a ceasefire. The humans, though wary, agreed to negotiate. Queen Visara and the human warrior, whose name was Captain Marcus Hale, sat down to discuss terms. Over the course of their conversations, Queen Visara learned more about the humans and their way of life. She was amazed by their resilience, their ability to adapt and overcome even the most dire circumstances. Captain Hale shared stories of his people's history, their struggles and their triumphs. He spoke of their dreams for a better future, one where all beings could live in harmony. Queen Visara found herself drawn to Captain Hale's wisdom and kindness. He challenged her beliefs and opened her eyes to a new way of thinking. For the first time in her life, she felt a sense of purpose that went beyond conquest and power. In the end, Queen Visara made a bold decision. She declared that the Krylos Dominion would no longer seek to conquer Earth or any other human colony. Instead, she proposed an alliance, a partnership based on mutual respect and understanding. The humans, though skeptical at first, agreed to give it a chance. As the days turned into weeks, Queen Visara and Captain Hale grew closer. They spent hours talking, sharing their thoughts and dreams. Queen Visara found herself opening up to Captain Hale in ways she never had with anyone else. He became her confidant, her friend, and eventually something more.